wonder, Scoop, you see what I'm doing here? You see what I'm watching today? It's pretty exciting.
You got the memo, I see.
Oh, got the memo. You're in jersey gear today, but your team is not playing today as my team is. So, Scoop, it's been a minute. We've had 2 games go since we've last been able to talk. Games
Right.
have looked, I think, pretty much what we expected, with the Suns just continuing to keep that fire burning. Let's talk about tonight. We got 8 o'clock game. Suns taking on the Bucks. Bucks at home. Before we get into numbers, did you see the presser where Giannis channeled his best Marshawn Lynch ever?
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
Did you hear? First of all,
Yes.
the fact that his English has gotten so incredibly great, right?
Mhm.
He's worked so much, and now he's actually cracking jokes, which I truly love, especially because, he was shy and didn't play with he didn't really play with the broadcasters, the interviews that much, and now he does, which is great. But I think the question that they were asking him was, will the momentum kick in or start or be ignited when they get to be in front of their home crowd, which is tonight? So, Scoop, we've got first half lines here, second half lines here, and totals. Let's first talk about where you think this series is going. Suns for the win, Bucks for the win. How many games?
Well, I do have the Bucks winning today. I think when you look at just their journey, beating the Bucks to get to where they were, I think it started off. I don't want to say easy, but they had a sweep in round 1. Round 2,
Yep.
the Nets were a challenge, and they did play with 25% ready, James Harden and Kyrie out, and the Hawks is really what sold me on the Bucks. And you look at the Phoenix Suns, they did what they were supposed to do at home. So now the Bucks are at home, and they're going to have to take care of business, but it's going to have to start with a concerted effort from not just Chris Middleton, but also Drew Holiday and some of the other usual suspects on their roster. But I do have the Bucks winning tonight. I do have the Suns for the series, however.
How many games for said series, Scoop? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I also have the Bucks for tonight. Also have the fact that both games have gone for the over the first 2 games. So I'm looking at this third and looking at how the lines are adjusting. The books really look at this and see what they're doing, right? And what we're going to be doing. I think it's going to be Suns in 5. You mentioned Drew Holiday, his inconsistency. This is not the time, right? Hey, look, we've seen a little bit of inconsistency on the other side of the ball with the Phoenix Suns. Ayton going from 22 points game 1 to 10 points game 2. If he gets back up to 22, which I know he will, then he's going to be a lot more pressure for the Bucks as well. But I am taking the Bucks for the win. I say the series only goes 5.
I say 6.
So you think the Bucks will win 2 in a row at home, or
Yes.
1 and 1?
I think they're going to go for 2 in a row at home and even the series and go back to Phoenix for game 5.
We need to put some real money on this at Bovada. Use my code Lisa250BV, because I'm going to tell you right now, there is no way the Suns are going to let themselves lose 2 nights in a row. They are not going to care that they're in Milwaukee. They don't care at all. They're going to maybe lose tonight. They're going to lose tonight. I do think the Bucks can pull the win, but I think the Suns are going to reel it right back in. So let's talk about the points. First half, and this is really interesting because we see a big delta. We got first half and first quarter here. So first quarter, total points, 55.5. Mathematically, it's been about where it's going in the first point, because I'm always sitting here breaking down both teams. And then for the first half, 108 points, knowing that the total for the night is 221.5. Now that to me seems a bit inflated, especially when you look at first half at 108. We're seeing second half a bit of a slowdown, especially in the fourth quarter. 221.5. I mean, I look at this as just like it's almost it's a tough one, because what the books are doing. They're adjusting to the fact that both of these games have gone for the over in the first 2 of this series that were both won by the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. But I think you were making a point that what the series so far, the over was what won, correct?
Yep, both games.
I like those odds.
I like those odds too, especially if the Bucks are going to win, because there's going to be a fight there. I will say the Bucks have been able to reel in a spread. They could be down by 15 to 18, give it 3 minutes, 4 possessions. Okay, the distance is only by 5 or 7. That helps them a lot, because it seems like the only time the Bucks really aggressively put up points is when they're behind.
Yeah, and what's interesting, I've said this on radio. I'll say this here on the home turf. When you look at the Bucks this series, they're missing Dante DiVincenzo. This is the series where I think
he makes all the difference. I agree.
Yeah, and I feel like okay, Giannis doesn't play, or excuse me, Giannis does play. Hold your horses. When Giannis does play and he drops 42 points, who's going to help him? You know, if I'm not mistaken, Middleton scored like 11 points in game 2.
Yeah, 11 points last game. You are correct. You are correct. Down from his average of 24 points. That really hurts. Again, that you look at Middleton being down to 11 points last game, Drew Holiday as well being inconsistent. It all starts to add up. Were you surprised game 1 when we got the news that Giannis was going to play?
No, he was trying to get his Willis Reed moment, and he got it. But, you know, ultimately, he came to play. Like, the only analogy that I can make, or the only comparison, rather, that I can make for this series is, you know, when I saw Middleton, or excuse me, when I saw Giannis come back, it reminded me of seeing Joel Embiid come back in the series against the Hawks in game 1. I respect his decision, around the clock treatment from the Bucs staff. They needed him. You know,
but they still lost. To me, I would have saved him from game 1. I would have got him out there game 2 to try to have more energy and push left. Look, he gets to play at home, but he also had to deal with the travel. Now, it's better in Milwaukee than it is in Phoenix right now, heat-wise, for inflammation. He gets to be home with every bit of medical benefits that he has within his facility, correct? But I was just shocked. I was like, you guys know you're going to lose game 1. Why are you playing Giannis right now? I guess it's a matter of the mental game at that point, because he is really the glue, and you're hearing more and more conversation about him being just the soul of that team.
Yeah, and you know, when you look at when Giannis was out in the conference finals against the Hawks, you saw Brook Lopez come alive. If I'm not mistaken, in game 2, he only scored 8 points. And when you looked at the overall stat sheet for game 2, I think game 2 was winnable. Here's why it wasn't. The Bucks, as a team, scored 54 points in the paint. But they also, if I'm not mistaken, shot 30% from downtown.
I'll tell you right now. I'm looking. Yep. You are correct.
The Suns is 50% from downtown. Turnovers weren't really an issue. You know, the Suns turned the ball over 12 times. They turned the ball over more times than the Bucks.
Yeah, CP3 had quite a few turnovers that game. You are correct.
But I'll add this. We made mention of Drew Holiday. Game 2, he averaged his season average of 17. He averaged, I think, 17.7 points for the regular season in 59 games. He scored 17 points in game 2. But I also got to say this. Part of the reason why Drew Holiday has struggled so much is because Devin Booker's defense has just been that damn good. When you look at game 2 as a team, Devin Booker, when he was guarding Chris Middleton and guarding as well as guarding Chris Middleton, both Middleton and Drew Holiday shot 1 for 11 when Booker was guarding him. So I think that as much as we look at Devin Booker as a scorer, defensively, he's been a juggernaut. He's been kicking tail and taking names.
And you know, when you look at the similarities of the potential of the game between Devin Booker and, let's say, Ben Simmons, both of them wanting to play both sides of the court so aggressively, Devin Booker's mastered this, right? If Ben Simmons could take this offseason and just work on his shot, work on his confidence with his shot, he could be unstoppable, because you're right. When you look at Devin Booker right now, he is relentless, and you can judge by stats, but if you don't watch the game, you don't see why. There's no opportunity. He provides nothing. It still kills me to see Giannis behind the key and no one's defending him. Like, they just know he can't make that shot, and it is still happening in this series, and they're just under there for the rebound. And I'm like, this is when we really need to work out a better option here for Giannis. Out of panic, he's having to take a shot that he knows he doesn't have. And he's also opening up the door, if they don't get the rebound, for the Suns to get another breakaway play.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like, you score all those points, you're doing it by yourself. And I think the other advantage that I think the Bucks have going into tonight's game, I feel like Bobby Portis has this home and away thing going, where, like, he disappears away, but at home he gets you points.
His
Game
splits
two,
are not good on the road. You are correct. He must love
no,
his bed at home, and he must have a favorite sandwich shop that he looks forward to every day, because there is something that motivates him at home that doesn't give it. Could be the local fans. It could be anything. It's just so clear. And we see this with players, and we see it with teams, right? Remember, there was a time with Miami Heat where they were just like unstoppable at home, and we knew every team was just going to Miami and going out. So we truly knew what that was about. But I look at this one again. Now let's talk about MVP of this series. Let's take it to the fact that we both agree that we think the Suns are going to get the win. There's conversation between both CP3 and Devin Booker being in the conversation for MVP of the series. Me, I'd love to see it go to Chris Paul.
same.
He deserves it. He deserves it. What he has brought and what he is doing. So we're both going for the Bucks for the win tonight at home.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Everybody out there, who are you going for? Are you going for the Bucks tonight at home? And you, my friend, are going for the over on the total points of 221.5.
I am.
So I'm going to go in the opposite direction.
Of course you are.
And I'm going to go for the under, okay? I say it's going to be about 220. And the reason I say this is because the books, the way they adjusted, I started watching this morning. I just have that feeling. So I got to ask you, did you watch UFC last night?
No, I watched the highlights, and I watched the interviews with McGregor going in, and he was talking a lot of sugar honey iced tea I saw.
Did you see the ankle break?
Yes.
What a scene. I mean, he's lucky. Like, remember when Paul George had that gruesome injury? He's so lucky that no part of his bone came out through his skin. I mean, the thing was just bent.
Who the fuck is this guy? Yeah, it was
right.
bad.
Right. The fact, though, that in that much pain, he could still be sitting there. Loved that Rogan came down and just sat down and interviewed him, which I thought was fascinating. Because
Yes.
there was a moment where we weren't sure if it was a mimic McGregor of the fight earlier this year in January, where he took one hit and got dizzy and fell over. But then it seemed pretty clear that he knew himself he couldn't get up. He couldn't do this on one foot. But it took us a couple of replays to see that thing just bend like a Barbie foot on a doll.
It reminded me of, are you a big wrestling
Oh, yeah, of course. How could you not?
Do you remember Sid Vicious?
Yes.
Do you remember when he jumped off the turnbuckle and he landed awkwardly in his – that's what that reminded me of.
And you watch that bend for real. That was no fake wrestling right there.
No.
That was real. But what a fight. You know, kind of not the way we wanted it to end, right? This is like a continuation of a saga. This was the trilogy with Poirier and McGregor. And we wanted to see it end. Like, I had picked McGregor. I had picked Poirier to win the fight. I thought it was going to go 3 rounds. Poirier is just so committed, so focused, no distractions. I just felt like the smack talk about his wife was going to be enough. If you saw, when Conor was down, she got to give him the bird, which I thought was actually pretty classy.
Do you think that they end up going again later on? Or do you think this is it?
That, it's such a tough one for Poirier at this point, right? Does he get to legitimately move on, right? There's another list of fighters that he needs to go through to get that belt, which he rightfully deserves. And again, I feel like he gets kind of this fight with another asterisk, right? There's no doubt if it would have kept going without the ankle, I think there would have been one more round before he just knocked McGregor out, right? He was just all over it, and he had landed. He definitely won that round up until that injury, right? So for me, I feel like I want Poirier to be able to move on and take this success and continue to grow it. But I don't think McGregor is going to accept being done. He had talked about the Nate Diaz card coming back together. But this ankle is probably going to need some sort of a metal rod. Who knows how that's really going to work out, how long the healing is going to be, because it just looked gnarly.
Scrimp Daddy, what's going on? Now, does John Bone Jones and Poirier, do they combat in the same class?
I'm not sure about John Bone Jones's weight class. That's a good one for you. Is that who you'd like him to see him fight next?
Yes, I would.
Okay. Shout out to the room. Shout out to Jeff. That's right here. Jeff, if you just entered, what up? We wanted to tell you that Scoop and I are disagreeing, as we truly like to do. We're agreeing on the main event, which is going to be the Bucks for the win tonight at home, 8 p.m. game.
Yep.
But we're disagreeing on the totals. Jeff, do you want to be the tiebreaker? Doesn't mean I'm going to change my mind. The totals for the game, 221.5. I'm going for the under. Scoop, though, is looking at the first 2 games, both hitting the over, and he's going the over. What you say, Jeff, and what do you all say here in the room? Love to hear your thoughts on this one. Scoop, this has been a series that I think everybody, look, there's been a lot of other sports going on. The fact that the ESPYs were on during UFC was so traumatic to me because I had to record them and then go back and watch them today because I definitely had to watch UFC. I'm really, I like the prelims. That's when you really get to meet fighters you haven't met. O'Malley had to take on a fighter last night that we've never seen before, and I could not believe the guy was still standing when the fight was over. He took such a beating and just kept taking it. You were just waiting for it to be over for him to fall over. O'Malley adapted well to a fighter that he wasn't able to get prepared for because his fighter was in protocols. So, man, I love watching, so I couldn't watch. I'm sure you watched the ESPYs, but before the ESPYs started, I looked at everything that I liked, and I definitely wanted the D-Hop catch to be the play of the year, and it was.
That was a pretty big deal.
It was a big deal, man. Kyler Murray couldn't even see him. He just threw that Hail Mary. He was blinking in there. That's when you realize how bad the Texans, like that play right there, hurt the soul of every Houston Texans fan.
I was looking at that, and I was also looking at the roast that they did on Ben Simmons about building houses with bricks for charity, and I was like, yo, Ben Simmons better come out next season swinging. But that catch definitely was like the catch of the year.
Yeah, it was a great award show, too. A lot of really incredible speeches, a lot of amazing young athletes that we get to look forward to following their journeys. And, just so great to see everybody in one place, which was right here. But I'm on lockdown. There's Wimbledon's going on. We got this going on. We got NBA tonight, just recovering from the late night of UFC. You're feeling it.
Did you see Nigeria get the win over Team USA basketball yesterday?
Man, and it was a shocker, too, man. I don't think we were prepared at all.
Precious with the block of the summer on Kevin Durant.
Durant looked so confused, too. When it happened, he was just like, I could see his mind going, nobody in my league can do that. How did that just happen?
I think that level of confidence is going to carry over into the regular season with the Miami Heat and the Brooklyn Nets.
And Jeff says he thinks the Bucks will at least win one this series. Jeff, I'm right there with you. I think they're going to win one. I think it's going to be tonight. It's going to be a 5-game series. But then Scoop, he thinks they're going to win 2, and it's going to be a 6-game series.
Yeah, I definitely have the Suns, but I think it's going to go 6 games.
Well, Scoop, we will be back on in a couple of days. We'll let everybody know when we're coming on. Enjoy the game tonight. I mean, enjoy all these sports this beautiful time of the year, right?
We're spoiled. We're trying to recalibrate back what's going on in the world. I'm also seeing your 30 questions. You're at number 20 now?
I'm mixing them up. So I did the 30 for 30 the whole month of June, every single day. And now what I'm doing is I'm putting clips that were edited onto my Instagram, and I'm mixing them up. I just thought the Sunday one should go on a Sunday, and I liked it better than the Sunday one before because sometimes I see the clips that were edited, then I got to send them back to the editor, go, can you do this one instead? Because I'm hyper like that. Okay, Jeff says 1 max, 2 for sure. Jeff, we're going to have to put a side bet on this. Side bet at Bovada, of course, using my promo code Lisa250BV. I've got Ted coming on today at 7. We're talking all things MLB All-Star Game. But, yeah, you'll be seeing me sprinkle in the 30 for 30. I found it pretty funny to get to know everybody through these questions. What is your favorite Sunday activity, since that was the question today?
Sleep.
What time did you sleep till today?
So I woke up at 7 in the morning, and I looked around, and I had my clock set for 10:30. I went back to sleep. I woke up at 12:30.
Oh, good for you. You must have needed it. I will say you must have needed it. My favorite thing to do on a Sunday is a super long workout in the morning because I normally have no meetings or things to do early. But then, I just visualize sports for the whole rest of the day. So I kind of get in an extra long workout so I can do absolutely nothing the rest of the day other than stare at my television.
Smart lady you are.
It's the important stuff. Everybody go get in the action tonight at the Bovada. Use my promo code Lisa250BB. Make sure you're following @Scoop_B on Instagram. Make sure you check out all of his work with Bally's as well. And Scoop, I'll be seeing you soon. Enjoy the game tonight.
Bye, Lisa. I'll talk to you.
Bye, everybody.